This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
You know who I can do without? I can do without the people in the video store.
Which ones?
All of them.
This is Massive Late Fee with Mike and Mark.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to Massive Late Fee. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my co-host Mike. How you doing, Mike?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Good. We've had a good week here at Massive Late Fee. As usual, Retro Late Fee was pretty fun this week, and everyone should go and check it out. Carol and I are also coming up with something to put on the Massive Late Fee Patreon that should be up within the next couple weeks. We'll let you know about it, but it will be Patreon exclusive stuff for fans of Massive Late Fee and Retro Late Fee. So definitely check that out. Also, go to bigheadsmedia.com to find more of our great podcasts and all that stuff. Also, I guess I've been talking about how everyone's show might be their first show. In case you guys don't know, we cover streaming shows. If you can stream it, basically we cover it. Movies, TV, things like that. Amazon, Netflix, Hulu, maybe Disney Plus when it comes out. But I kind of doubt it, Mike.
I'm not watching it.
Speaking of things we're not interested in, the news. Like I said before, we generally cover this stuff for you guys, but really, please note, Mike and I do not give a shit about any of this stuff. Instead of the news, Mike, I think we should start calling this segment We Don't Care or something like that.
Who gives a shit?
Yeah, because here's some more Who Gives a Shit. Brian Tyree Henry is in talks to join A Quiet Place 2 in a mystery role. So, first of all, they're making a sequel to A Quiet Place. I don't know why. I liked the movie, but I don't know why you make a sequel to it. And
I didn't see it. Did they like defeat the aliens at the end or no?
Yes, they discovered how to do it.
Okay. It sounds like a sequel's in order.
It was sort of like, it reminded me, the end of it, and I'm not the first person to say this, but the ending reminded me of the ending of Signs in a little bit.
Or it's like a really obvious solution the whole time.
Yeah, because they, in Signs it's water, and in this movie, the, shock and spoiler, the aliens that can't see but have really acute senses of hearing, their weakness is high-pitched sounds. So, they have really good senses of hearing, and it's like a dog whistle.
Jeez.
So that's their weakness, and they discover that at the end of the film and then end up killing one of them. So anyway,
this person, the name sounds very familiar. Like I've been watching a lot of Jimmy Kimmel live clips like this. He has his, I don't know, his sidekick maybe Guillermo. He goes and interviews people. Mm-hmm. I could have sworn he interviewed somebody with that name today, like Brian something Henry. You said? Oh, wait, that might be my neighbor's name actually.
Brian Tyree. Oh, your neighbor's with Brian Tyree Henry. Okay.
Is that his last name?
Yeah, Brian Tyree Henry.
I'm pretty sure this is my neighbor in this movie.
It could be. Let's see.
Oh, I just gotta send a quick message to my wife. Honey, is this our neighbor's last name or is it Howard? I never remember.
Well, he's been in the films Widows, If Beale Street Could Talk, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and he's going to be in that Child's Play movie and the Joker movie.
I haven't seen any of those. I heard the Spider-Verse movie is pretty good, though.
Yeah, I watched it with the kids. It's actually not too bad.
Well, that's good. It's coming to Netflix soon, so I'll probably have to check that out.
So I guess we do kind of care about this because your neighbor is in the movie.
He's really a nice guy, too, Brian. Congratulations on all your Hollywood success.
So more sequel talk. Jason Blum teases Halloween 2 talks with Jamie Lee Curtis.
Wow. It'll be hard to make a movie worse than the original remake of the remake.
Yeah, I agree. Although, if I remember correctly, and I think this was our first review, maybe, or one of our our first review was Better Call Saul, but it was our second review.
It was very early on for sure.
If I recall correctly, I think you liked it a little bit more than I did.
Okay, the ending was really bad though.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of dumb stuff going on throughout the whole thing, which we both agreed on, I believe.
Oh yeah, for sure. We definitely pointed out all the stupid things in the movie, but yeah,
there were a lot.
They're making a sequel, which you knew was going to happen as soon as this made $1. You knew they were going to make a sequel to it, and Jamie Lee Curtis reprising her role. I guess she doesn't care about, I don't know, making quality films anymore. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. She's not really in a lot of movies. I mean, she's in like Trading Places, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
True Lies, which I love. That's one of my favorite movies for sure. Was she in the My Girl movies? Maybe I think she was in the first one.
Yeah, I think she was in both, but I think she had a really small role in the second one.
Yeah, I think the second one was like at the very beginning, like, okay, well, we're going to Hollywood. I think I don't remember where they were originally from, but they did go to like Hollywood because I remember they went to the La Brea Tar Pits.
Yeah,
maybe they were from California. I really don't remember.
She was from that town where everyone dies from bee stings.
Yeah. For fucking Dan Aykroyd.
So, the last thing that I have in news also concerns a sequel.
There's a shock.
The Bill and Ted 3 movie. They've cast their own daughters, Billy and Thea. So I think we reported this before. It's called Bill and Ted Face the Music.
I'm sorry. I think I will probably see this at some point, or maybe I just won't because I don't want to see a bad Bill and Ted movie because I like the first two.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm a huge Keanu Reeves fan, as everyone knows.
But apparently, I guess they're playing their own children, so they're basically playing, I mean, kind of themselves.
Okay.
So this will be interesting, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I like both of the first two movies, like you said. As you astutely pointed out before when we talked about this, the second one is better than the first one. But
it's definitely better. I really like the second one a lot.
Yeah, they made a really good choice. Now I know they're bringing the same creative team back together, so I guess I'm willing to give this a chance, considering the fact that they made a movie that I thought was really good, the first Bill and Ted's movie, and in an era where every sequel was just a completely like a redo of the first movie. They went completely in the other direction. They brought a lot of very original and funny ideas to it. So I don't know what they've really been up to. Not Alex Winter and Keanu Reeves, but I mean like the writer and director, like the creative people behind it. I don't know what they've been up to since because I haven't looked that up. But I guess I'm willing to give them a chance because when they did a sequel, they did it right. So I don't know. Maybe they'll do this.
I haven't seen a lot of bad Keanu Reeves movies. I mean, I didn't see The Replacements. I know some people didn't like that, but I didn't see it. I mean,
I actually like The Replacements.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't seen a movie of his that I don't really like. I mean, I can't think of one.
Yeah, so it's not one. And here's the thing. Here's what I fear is that it's going to be a good movie that doesn't do well in the theater. That's my fear because I'm probably not going to go see it in the movie theater, but I am interested to see it. I probably just I almost feel like they should just release it on Netflix.
That would be the way to do it, I think. Because I mean, why not just release everything on Netflix from now on? Because I don't want to go to the movie theater. Do you?
No, not at all.
Alex Winter, I think he did a couple documentaries that are really interesting. It was like on the deep web. One of them was. Another one was also something to do with like technology. And Keanu Reeves narrated one of them. I just can't remember the name of them, but I watched most of one of them. And it was really, really interesting.
Well, that's cool. Yeah, I like both of them, and I like the Bill and Ted movies. So I'm hopeful that it'll be good. But as I said, I'm probably waiting till it's coming to streaming.
Yeah, same here.
So now we will move on. Speaking of things that you can stream, not that you necessarily want to, although for an educating Mike segment, this movie has some pretty good reviews. I'll say that. Mike, are you familiar with the 1987 science fiction film Cherry 2000?
I recall seeing the who's on the cover. I recall seeing the cover of the videotape, like at the video store and that kind of stuff. And it was kind of like a sultry looking kind of like picture.
Yeah, it's Melanie Griffith and David Andrews.
Well, maybe that's not, because I don't think it was Melanie Griffith who I recall in the picture. Maybe I was thinking of something else.
Oh, she looks a lot different today.
Oh yeah.
Ugh, rough. But this movie, as I said, made in 1987. I'll educate you on the plot of Cherry 2000. In 2017, the United States has fragmented into post-apocalyptic wastelands and limited civilized areas. Which, I mean, they kind of got that right. One of the effects of the economic crisis is a decline in manufacturing. Yep. And heavy emphasis on recycling aged 20th century mechanical equipment. Society has become increasingly bureaucratic, and hypersexualized, with the declining number of human sexual encounters requiring contracts drawn up by lawyers prior to sexual activity. Now, I've actually seen this movie a long time ago. I remember a scene in a bar. This guy goes to a bar, and he meets this woman, and this woman shows him, it's like an iPad. She takes out an iPad, but it's got a holographic image of her on it, and it shows her having sex with another guy. And she's like, look, see how good I am at sex. Let's have sex. Let's draw up the paperwork, kind of thing. I think it's to ensure that they don't have diseases, because, this is sort of, the AIDS crisis was popping off in 1987.
Yeah, AIDS was really trending back then.
Yeah, you know how AIDS gets.
I mean, now it's not. I mean, except for when I'm watching the show Impractical Jokers, they always, every single time, they have a commercial for this thing called Truvada, which is like, I don't know what it does. I think it prevents you from getting HIV or something.
Mm-hmm.
Outside from that, I never hear anything about AIDS. It's just I mean, that's probably a good thing, but it's just kind of weird.
Yeah, they basically cured it, is what I've heard. I mean, they're very, very, very close to curing it. They cured it in two individuals.
They're able to manage it, like diabetes or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know that they put it in remission basically in two individuals I was reading about, and also they did this study where if you have HIV or AIDS and you're on antiretroviral medication, you can't transmit it. They did like a 15-year study of people with it and their partners, and of the, I think it was like 2,000 or 3,000 people, only 7 people got it, and it was revealed that the 7 people that got it did so because of affairs that they had outside of their actual relationship. So no one who was on antiretrovirals passed it on to anyone else.
You're basically trying to get AIDS at that point. You're taking retrovirus medication, and you're cheating and not taking the medication. I mean,
right. So basically, their goal now.
That's like the kind of person who tells their friends "Oh, you got it? How that happened?"
Yeah, this is not the chicken pox guys.
Oh, you were bathing in Magic Johnson's blood and you caught it? That's weird.
But yeah, basically their goal at this point is to get everyone who has HIV on antiretroviral medication and just let it die out, basically. And, not spread it to anyone new.
And then Jenny McCarthy will come down the street and say, hey, that retroviral medication is giving your kids autism.
Yeah, exactly. And then it'll explode. Okay, anyway, so at the same time, robotic technology has made tremendous developments, and female androids, more properly gynoids, are used as substitutes for wives. So, I mean, they're kind of like real dolls, I guess, but, they can move and talk, and they call them gynoids. I guess that's a, yeah, I guess that's a, it's just weird, but I guess that's an actual scientific term. A feminine humanoid robot. It's weird that they're only female, though. There's no males. I don't think that's realistic.
I think it is.
Business executive Sam Treadwell, David Andrews, owns a Cherry 2000 model gynoid as his wife. After she short circuits during sex, which, by the way, it's not a larger than average load that causes that to happen.
What?
Well,
larger than average load? Is that what you're saying?
That's not why she short circuits. It's because they're in the bathtub. Now, why you're having sex with your robotic android in a bathtub, I don't know. But
your whole take on this is insane. You thought he shot too big of a load that shorted her up? Oh my god!
No, I'm saying that didn't happen, but it doesn't.
Why would you bring it up?
Well, because it just says after she short circuits during sex. It doesn't explain how that happens. I didn't want people.
Your first thought is, well, this guy's drowning her in jizz. He must be fucking short circuiting.
Sam is told by a repairman that she is damaged beyond repair. A gynoid dealer, this is who he meets at the bar, tells Sam that the Cherry 2000 model has since gone out of manufacture and that the only remaining ones are in a defunct factory in Zone 7, a particularly dangerous, lawless area.
Why wouldn't he just want the newer model?
Yeah, it's really, like, in this movie, he's very attached to this model because of the way he basically forms an emotional connection with this robot. And he wants this exact robot. He takes her memory disk with him.
This is a dumb movie because you should easily be able to upgrade the bot and have the personality on the new one.
I agree. So yeah, I mean, this movie is basically this guy is going to go into a war zone to get a fleshlight. I mean, that's...
Yeah, because everyone knows that men, once their spouse dies, they always find the exact same age and, type of person.
Exactly. Yep.
They don't want the newer model ever.
No. Twins, if possible.
Jeez, this is a really dark episode, Mark.
Okay, so he's got to go into Zone 7, and he hires Edith E. Johnson, Melanie Griffith, a tough tracker, to guide him to the factory.
Melanie Griffith plays a tough tracker?
Yeah, it's really weird.
That doesn't make any sense at all.
As they enter Zone 7, I want them to remake this movie with Dakota Johnson. Since that's Melanie Griffith's daughter. As they enter Zone 7, they encounter Lester, a wasteland overlord with deranged subordinates. Edith and Sam enter an underground reservoir occupied by Six-Finger Jake, an elderly tracker who was Edith's mentor.
Does that mean he has 6 fingers total or on one hand?
I think he has 6 fingers total.
Oh my. I thought maybe he was like mutated from, Zone 7.
Right. When Lester's men attack, the three attempt to escape, but Sam is knocked unconscious and taken to a 1950s-style motel/village run by Lester. He is greeted by his ex-girlfriend, Elaine, who now calls herself Ginger and works for Lester. Ginger tells Sam that he was the only one spared by Lester's men. Lester decides to induct Sam into the group, and Sam goes along. When he witnesses the group sadistically murdering a tracker, he decides to escape. As he escapes Lester's group, Sam runs into Edith and Jake. Jake stays behind to create some distractions and gives Cherry's memory disk to Edith, though he had earlier led Sam to believe the chip had been lost. Seems mean. Like, I don't know. He was still helping him. I could see if he did it, it was like, hey, we don't need to go anymore into this zone. The chip's lost. You're never going to get her memories. But he was still leading him there. Edith, realizing Sam is a veteran of earlier wars, begins to see him in a new light and have feelings for him. Sam realizes he is attracted to Edith, but feels guilty when he is reminded of Cherry. So, that robot has really got his heart. After fighting off Lester's goons, they continue to the factory. Edith goes to a brothel/gas station. I don't doubt that if sex work is legalized, that some places will be like how they have KFC, Burger Kings. Or
have you ever seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what they do there. It's Starbucks. They also have sexual massages and stuff.
Right. I just don't see that happening in a gas station too, though. Anyway, this gas station/brothel is owned by Snappy, a friend of Jake's, and they borrow his plane. Snappy then betrays them to Lester. Why'd he give them their plane? Jake is killed, but Edith and Sam escape in the plane. Sam suggests that they turn around, but Edith is determined to find a Cherry 2000 model, so Jake's death will not be meaningless. As they land, Zone 7 is revealed to actually be the ruins of Las Vegas, now a ghost town. The gynoid factory is actually a casino called Pharaoh's Casino. Not a very original name. Sam finds a functional Cherry 2000 and activates her with the memory disk. Somehow, still charged up, apparently, though.
Yeah, I guess.
When Lester's gang finds them, Edith and Sam manage to evade and kill many of his henchmen. Escaping to the plane, the three find that their combined weight prevents takeoff. Which one do you think's weighing them down? The two normal-sized human beings or the robot?
Well, I think we all know it's that one guy's fucking load in his pants. It's just weighs pounds and pounds.
Edith jumps out, despite Sam rejecting the idea. Sam turns the plane around to help the now trapped Edith, and then Sam sends Cherry to get him a Pepsi. Great product placement for Pepsi, by the way. Hey, Can we be in your robot sex movie?
Well, it is the choice of a new generation.
That's right. Then has Edith get aboard. Lester is killed trying to stop them from escaping. Edith and Sam then kiss as they fly away. Sam tells Edith he intends to pay her for services rendered. I'm assuming the tracking work. Edith tells him, quote, "Baby, you've already paid me."
Oh.
That's how the film ends.
Wait, so does he get with her or with Cherry 2000 then?
No, he gets with her. He sends Cherry 2000 off to get him a Pepsi so that, like, basically it's like sending the dog off, you know, when it's
why not,
when it's dying.
Why not just go with both?
Well, their combined weight wouldn't let the plane take off for some reason.
Well, you know, Edith she'll get bored of that eventually, so you just keep Cherry around.
Yeah, I agree. You know, the thing is, too, you would think that, you know, a normal human is just going to drown to death in that load.
You would think.
Oh, so here is the parent's guide to Cherry 2000. Sex and nudity. A man rolls around on the floor with a semi-naked woman, which turns out to be a cyborg. They kiss each other in soapy water before she short circuits. So, as I said, soapy water.
It was soapy water.
While getting undressed, a woman's topless shadow is seen on a wall, and her outline of her breasts is clearly visible. So that's...
How do you tell if it's nude or not if it's just a shadow?
I agree. I mean, that could be anything. A man puts his hands on the breasts of a woman fully clothed before kissing her. They make out on the hood of a car, and he nearly pulls her top down, revealing her breasts, but stops. Sounds almost, chagrined at that point. A man breaks his neck after sent flying into a statue's breasts. I don't know how that's nudity. Because it's
a statue, I guess?
I guess. Violence and gore. Some explosions from rocket launchers and bazookas. One is made from a petrol bomb. A couple of men are shot. Nothing graphic. One man operating a crane is shot. Blood smears are seen on his arm. A man is bashed over the head by a wooden beam. A man is made to put a target on his face and then shot with an arrow. Blood smears are seen on the wall. A woman shoots two men in a jeep. The shots fatally wound them, and the jeep flips over. So I guess that just adds insult to injury. If they know that they're killed.
Right.
A man is shot in the back by a girl. The girl is shot in the head, but it's done off camera. A man is shot and falls through a glass skylight buried in sand. And then a man breaks his neck when sent flying into a statue.
Jeez. This statue is like the big central part of this movie, it sounds like.
Yeah, I think so. Profanity. Goddamn and shit are used frequently. A woman tells a man, quote, she, quote, isn't a fucking machine. Now, this could be read two ways, I suppose. It could be Melanie Griffith saying, you know, I'm not a fucking machine. Or she could say, I'm not a fucking machine.
Yeah, that's what I would think it would be.
And that is it for the Parents Guide. As I said, the user reviews on here, there are only 2 1-star reviews. And everything else is 8, 9, or 10 stars.
Oh, is that on a scale of 10?
Yeah, this is on IMDb. Whoa, worst movie I've ever seen. I know people say that phrase casually, but this is in no casual way.
What's the worst movie you've ever seen?
Oh, the worst movie I've ever seen is probably... that's a good question. I hate The Mangler so much. I know I've mentioned that a few times on here. Probably the Garbage Pail Kids movie. I don't think anything is quite as horrible. I don't think anything is quite as weird or terrible as that. What about you? What's the worst movie you've ever seen?
I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. We'll have to revisit that at a later time.
Up to this point in my life, I am 19. This was written February 27th, 2006, so welcome to your 30s, whoever you are. Cosmo 8. I note that the worst movie I've ever seen is Cherry 2000. I don't know how people consider Melanie Griffith an actor. Her unenthusiastic tone doesn't fit her role as a bounty hunter. Maybe you could watch it as a joke or something, but I don't know how you could. The joke would wear off before the movie ended. Wow. This movie review is like a lead balloon.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, like I said, most of the rest of them are, 9 and 10 star reviews with people basically like man meets robot, ditches robot for hot babe with gun. I guess I could have just read that instead of reading the plot summary.
Yeah, that seems like it.
Because that is basically it. I mean, besides the giant load.
Yeah, the giant load.
But that is it for Educating Mike.
Do you think maybe the load was soapy and it filled the bathtub and she wasn't in fact in water at all?
That's true. It could have just been frothy.
Yeah, frothy. It comes out with such a force.
Oh, it's like he's got an air compressor down there.
Right. Like a t-shirt cannon full of jizz.
A t-shirt cannon. Oh my god. So now I will bring back one of our favorite segments here, or at least my wife's favorite segment, Celebrity Diss. This week, I gotta page through my extensive Twitter following here. This week, I contacted Josie Lawrence, who is in Good Omens. Now, Mike, I'm gonna
wait, Joey Lawrence?
No, not Joey Lawrence. Josie Lawrence.
You probably would have more success with Joey Lawrence.
Yeah, well, she's a British actress. Now, I want you need to be the judge if this is a win or not. By the way, this celebrity diss. So first, I start with the standard greeting, basically. Hello, Miss Lawrence. I represent the Massive Late Fee podcast, and we are reviewing Good Omens episode by episode. We would love to have you as a guest on our next episode. All you have to do is call in. We record on Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So, 88 people saw that. Got 1 like. Guess from who? My wife,
Josie Lawrence,
and someone clicked our profile. Don't know who that is. So then next I sent to her. Let's see, where is it? She used to be on, to give you a little background. She was on the original Whose Line Is It Anyway?
I think I know who it is.
The British version. So I said, to make you feel at home, I can try a Clive Anderson impression, and Mike, my co-host, can do Ryan Stiles. And after that, he does a great Colin Mockery impression.
I bet Clive Anderson's dead by now.
Probably. And I said, come join us to talk about Good Omens.
Wait, who does she play in Good Omens? Is she one of the nurses?
I believe she's the mom of the wife of that, the ambassador, I think.
Okay.
And then I sent her that video that we made about Andy Capper. And
ooh, that's probably isn't wise.
So I said, check out what we view as comedy. Unless you hate this. In that case, assume that a vagrant stole my phone. But you can still message me. My phone was only stolen in your imagination.
I love the word vagrant. You don't hear that often enough.
So, we got a response from Josie Lawrence.
Oh, that's a win then. Is it? Please stop tweeting me.
No, Josie Lawrence says, so sorry, but I'm stupid busy and will be working then. Hope it goes well, though. It was a wonderful series to be a small part of. XXX, which I don't think she's indicating, pornographic films, that we watch pornographic films. But the X's are kisses, right?
Yeah.
So she's giving us kisses.
Oh, that's a win. Our first. We should retire the segment now. We'll never equal the kindness that Miss Lawrence showed us. Thank you.
So I said to her in response, and then she blocked me. No, I'm just joking. She didn't. I said to her in response, hey, thanks so much for the response. First we've ever gotten. This is a little bit we do for the show. We fully understand that this is not how you seek interviews. That said, you are now one of the patron saints of the show, and you will always be spoken of glowingly. So yeah, big shout out to Josie Lawrence, who actually responded to us. And I read a little bit of what she was doing. I know she's in a play. She's doing an improv. She's in a production of Oklahoma. If anyone is listening overseas, she's in a production of Oklahoma. And then she does improv back in LA and stuff too. So I know she actually really is super busy. But thank you so much, Josie Lawrence.
Isn't that so very odd when you do get a response from a celebrity you've tweeted at or mentioned in a tweet?
Yeah, it's a little weird. I mean, I was really surprised that we got a response because we never do.
Yeah, as we mentioned long ago, I was shocked, super shocked. We got that very glowing review from Norm Macdonald, one of my favorite comedians, if not my favorite.
Yeah, it's so weird because you and I talked about it when Norm Macdonald tweeted about our show and gave it that really good review. And we talked about it. I talked about it with a few other people. And I was so paranoid because I'm like, do you think this is sarcastic? Do you think it's you think he's making fun of us in some way? Or, or maybe he didn't even listen or whatever. But,
I don't think it was sarcastic, but I do feel that he didn't actually listen to it. I'm firmly on that fence myself. I know you have an opposite opinion.
Well, based on the things he said, I think he did. Because, in that episode, too, we talked about Roseanne. I know him and Roseanne are good friends. And we talked about what happened with Roseanne. And I talked about how, I might not agree with Roseanne politically, but I thought it was bullshit. And I hate when that happens, when people lose their jobs over stupid things they say over social media. And he talks about political pundits and stuff like that in that review of us, how we're much better than that. And I don't know. It makes me feel like he actually at least listened to the beginning part where we talk about him.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, have you ever got any other celebrities tweeting or liking or retweeting you? I've had a surprisingly large amount.
Really? I don't think so.
Because Penn Jillette's very active on Twitter, and he's responded, to multiple things I've said.
Oh, that's awesome.
David Bautista of the Toronto Blue Jays followed me on Twitter for some reason. I have no idea why.
That's awesome too.
Like as far in this, I thought this was hilarious. Everyone knows how much I hate Star Wars, but I made a response to a tweet from Mark Hamill because it just kind of randomly showed up in my feed, and he liked it.
Oh,
Like,
nice.
it's kind of funny to think that he just like 1 second of his time, all those Star Wars, but it was related to Batman the animated series actually, so that's why I retweeted it.
Everything I've heard about Mark Hamill is that he's like one of the nicest human beings ever.
Yeah, in interviews and stuff, he seems like a genuinely nice person. I mean, I'm just not I don't dislike him. I just dislike Star Wars. I mean,
Yeah.
I still maintain to this day that his version of the Joker is the best ever captured in any form other than God.
I agree. Totally. So Norm Macdonald and Josie Lawrence are the patron saints of the show now, which is fitting for what we're talking about, this week. But now,
I have an insane new idea for a segment I just came up with.
oh yeah, what is it?
All right, we go into the we find a movie. We pick a movie. You and I each do.
Mm-hmm.
When we go into the parents' guide,
Okay.
and then we start reading the comments on it, like from the least obvious to the most obvious. Whoever guesses it first wins, and I already have a choice, and it's X.
Oh my God, yes.
You want to do that right now?
Yeah.
Do it.
Okay.
All right, you go ahead and find a movie that you're pretty sure I'll know. You know what's in my wheelhouse, but
Yeah.
I'm talking. Here's an example. Here's the most vague thing ever. This is under alcohol, drugs, and smoking. Later in the film, there's a scene in a bar, but no alcohol consumption is shown. What's the movie?
Okay, a scene in a bar and no one's drinking. Is it Star Wars: A New Hope?
It is not.
Okay. Oh, let me think. So we're
Well,
debuting
let's do this like horse, though. We can't just like whoever answers correctly first wins. The other person has to
right.
have like a spelling bee, I guess, kind of is what we're doing.
Exactly. Let me think of a movie that I know you've seen or that you know about. Oh, I got one. What's it called? I can't ask you what it's called. What the hell's it called? Oh,
Here, I'll tell you what. While you're thinking, I'll do another one, and then you'll just do two right away when you're ready. Okay? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Again, alcohol, drugs, and smoking. This one is an actual line from the film, so it's a little less challenging.
Okay.
When the pickup truck with the tracker in the back stops, the passenger says, "I hope you took the grass out of the glove compartment."
When the pickup truck... Read that one more time.
When the pickup truck with the tracker in the back stops, the passenger says, "I hope you took the grass out of the glove compartment." Now, there's a lot of information in that one.
Yeah.
The grass, that kind of gives you an idea of what time it was. It's probably not a super recent movie.
Uh-huh.
And obviously, movies from like the 50s wouldn't even mention that at all, I don't think.
Right. So I'm guessing 70s or early 80s. And a tracker.
That is a very good guess, by the way.
So, and a tracker...
The tracker also is a very good clue.
So what movies would have a tracker in it? And they went to a bar. Pickup truck. A tracker.
Did you find your movie yet?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, give me 2 clues.
Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna have to come back to that one. All right, let me look at some of these. Oh no, that's 2. That'll give it away. Okay, well here's the most vague thing ever under drugs, alcohol, and smoking. A little bit of drinking, nothing graphic.
All right, go ahead, give me your other clue. That's terrible.
Okay, let's see. No, that'll give it away.
Wait, should we also guess after each round of clues?
Yeah, we can.
So we're also eliminating some possibilities.
Yeah. Make a guess.
All right, after the first one, I'm going to guess the original Ocean's 11.
Nope,
that's not true because it said very little drinking.
Right, but no, yeah, that's neither of the Ocean's 11s. Oh man, wow. Okay, you're gonna get it on the second one. I know, because these are all the rest of them on here. Kind of. Okay, maybe not this one. Maybe you won't get on this one, but you might. It includes a couple lines of in the movie. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
this is profanity. 8 F words, and other strong language. During the attack on the main character's wife,
feel free to remove, identifying information as needed. Like you can say the city instead of like Las Vegas,
Right. During the attack on the main character's wife, one of the thugs refers to her as a rich cunt.
This is a Death Wish 1, I believe.
Yes. The other ones were a graphic scene wherein a group of thugs torments and then rapes a woman and her adult daughter. So, and then the other one is the violence is pretty intense, in particular the assault of the mother and daughter.
And how about this? For the sake of fairness, and since we'll probably want to tie more off than that, I'll give you the most obvious clue from the series. Like, the next like if you guess, the next person has to give the most obvious clue, so the other person can also tie and will be undefeated.
Okay.
All right, hold on. There's some really obvious ones on this one. Just a second. Number 5 shoots the belt buckle off of Stephanie's ex-boyfriend, and his jeans drop, exposing his box.
Short circuits.
Yes.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of really, really easy ones in this one. Like Stephanie is in the tub. There's no nudity, but number 5 comments about her nice software.
Yeah, I remember that scene very well. Nice software.
And I completely forgot that Fisher Stevens just plays like a guy from India, and no one cares.
Yep. No one cares at all.
No one even mentions it.
Oh my god, this is the greatest segment ever. We need to do this every week.
Okay.
Yeah, I love it. So, massive late fee history here. A little behind the scenes on how Mike and I do things. All right. So, I'm writing that.
It's called the Game of Games, and we're tied currently.
Yep. All right. I've got it down now as something we can do every week. So now we will move on to another favorite segment of our, ever-growing fan base or whatever. Keeping current with Mike. This is where we scour the internet for the celebrity stories that Mike and I don't understand at all, and we try to figure them out. So, Mike, where are we going with keeping current this week?
Again, I'm completely out of ideas for actual gossip sites. I went to the most popular ones again. And took me to something called Media Takeout. Are you familiar with Media Takeout, Mark?
No, I have never heard of them.
Yeah, I had neither, but it's like the 5th most popular, or maybe top 10. And here's what it describes itself as: MTO News. The website is mtonews.com, so it's just abbreviated.
Is that Media Takeout like takeout food? Like this is this goes down easy, or is it we're gonna take out the media?
I'm not really sure because it just says MTO News, and then it says the most visited African American news network. So maybe it started off as like something called Media Takeout, and then because it just says MTO, that implies that they don't really care about the original name that much.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, that shows you how much I know about gossip. This is like one of the top 15 sites I've never once heard of it in my whole life.
All right. I got Google ready because I know I'm not going to know anything.
All right, this is a familiar name because we've done something like this before. This headline is Atlanta housewife Nene leaks fires shots at Porsche! Exclamation.
Okay, so is this the one that, people were embarrassed over her thirst?
I think so. But you know what I just realized? I did this earlier when I opened the site up. Nene Leaks, I thought that was a person's name. And the reason I think so, it's a person's name, but I thought it was like they're saying Nene Leaks, like a story. Like both times I thought I misread it, like in my mind and out loud, because I thought they were saying she like leaks a story, but that's her last name is Leaks, Leake.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, she's on that Atlanta show, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. Atlanta Housewives, so it must be Real Housewives of Atlanta. Which again, I think T.I.'s wife might be on this, but I might be wrong.
So she shot a Porsche.
No, she fires shots at Porsche. I don't think they're being literal though.
Oh! So Porsche's another person, not a car.
Yes. No, Porsche. Yeah.
Okay,
but
so
Porsche, not Porsche.
Gotcha. So I thought that she was shooting a car.
No.
Well, that's, I guess, I wonder what the shots fired are, but I really don't care, too.
Yeah, I don't really care that much either. The next headline, and I'm not going in order. I'm just finding ones that are, not completely boring.
Mm-hmm.
This one is Harvard grad Sierra is getting dragged for poor spelling. There's 2 exclamations. I don't know why you wouldn't just use 1 or 3, 2, whatever.
Yeah, that's a grammatical error right there.
Yeah, I know a lot about this. I know that Sierra is like a musician, and I know she's currently, I don't know if she's married to Russell Wilson of the Seattle Seahawks. I think I mostly know about her because it's a sports-related story.
Okay.
I didn't realize she went to Harvard. I mean, if she did, I assume she must have gone for theater or something like that, because I would think any person who got into the regular theater part of Harvard could spell something correctly. I mean, it doesn't seem like a very difficult thing.
Yeah.
And I don't think calling somebody out for poor spelling is dragging them. I mean, if you're, just putting your poor spelling out there, you should feel free to be criticized, because you should know how to spell words. I mean, there's programs that check spelling for you.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how grammar is so bad on the internet when there are so many grammar programs.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sierra Princess Harris, born in Austin, Texas on October 25th, right around our birthdays, 1985. The only child of Jackie and Carlton Harris. Hey, I wonder if Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air was based on that.
Probably.
She was an Army brat. Grew up in Germany, New York, Utah, California, Arizona, and Nevada. That had to be fun being a black person in Utah.
Right. You know all the other ones by their first name, at least.
Right. Sierra's parents are both African Americans. Sierra has some Irish ancestry from her mother's background. But there's citation needed there, so who knows? Someone on
time people just hear interviews with people and they just add to Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
So she was probably interviewed and said I have some Irish here.
Yeah. In her mid-teens, she formed an all-girl group, Hearsay, with 2 of her friends. The group recorded demos, but as time went on, they began to have differences and eventually parted ways. Despite this setback, you mean, okay, so the setback...
So you're 15 and your musical group breaks up and it's a setback?
Yeah, exactly. That's a hell of a setback in your career.
Tell that to the guys in Weasel Face.
Right? Sierra was still determined to reach her goal and signed a publishing deal as a songwriter. Okay? So she wrote Got Me Waiting, and on the debut album Free Yourself, blah, blah, blah. I don't know.
I've never heard any of your music, but there used to be this That's What I Call Music kind of thing where everything was like Sierra, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Chris Brown and Sierra. And it kept switching between the two. And eventually it was Chris Brown featuring Sierra or the reverse of that, and it was the funniest thing ever.
Yeah.
She was in Grandma's Boy, though. I found her very attractive in Grandma's Boy and nothing else.
Apparently her alter ego is Super C, so she is the sequel to Contra. Super Contra.
Well, the C doesn't stand for Contra.
Right. Let's see. Super C doesn't hold back, she says. That's true. It is much harder than the original Contra. She is definitely aggressive.
Yeah. But yeah, so whatever. She can't spell. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad for you.
No, I don't either. Drag her. Go ahead and drag her. Whatever the hell that
drag.
means.
It's a dumb fucking word.
Yeah.
It's ooh, that's basically you're shitting on someone. Just say shitting on someone.
That's the thing that I find that I hate the most when we do this segment is the stupid slang like thirst and drag.
Yeah, or the worst one might be clapback. It's no, that's a response. I almost said a word that you're not allowed to say in 2019. It wasn't racist. It was making fun of the mentally challenged.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I don't know. It's just dumb.
Yeah, she is married to Russell Wilson since 2016.
Yeah, and he was a virgin until they were married, which is kind of hilarious.
It is very funny.
And she wasn't, because she brought a child to the relationship. So,
well, I don't know. I do remember reading that about Russell Wilson, that he wanted to wait until he was married. Always the best decision.
The first man ever to do so.
Right? Maybe the first NFL player ever to do so.
I think you're for sure correct. Oh, no, Tim Tebow technically played in the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
For a minute or two.
He quote-unquote played. 7 yards passing, 45 yards rushing. They still won the game somehow.
And don't worry, he's going to be a pro baseball player now.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Hold on a second.
Mike is being murdered in his remote location. Don't worry, everyone. That wasn't a earthquake or ICBMs falling on Mike. He's okay.
Yeah, I'm in the garage and the door just sometimes randomly opens. And he just started doing that. I'm like, oh my god.
All right.
The next story is really bizarre for a lot of reasons.
Okay.
And it says Rihanna's net worth passes in all caps Beyonce. And it says, did Jay-Z marry wrong one? 3 question marks.
They are big on selling the emotion that they want you to feel.
First of all, I like that they just imply that that Jay-Z should have married for money.
Yeah, exactly.
He just recently, like this week, they said he was like the first, official hip hop billionaire.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's really like, oh, I have to marry for money. I don't think billionaires have to marry for money.
Exactly. Yeah, according to this, Rihanna's net worth is $600 million.
I don't see how. I would think that Beyonce would have more money than she would.
I mean,
She's been around longer.
I thought everyone loved Beyonce.
Oh, I don't.
I don't have any opinion of her either way because
I don't think she's anything. I don't think she's anything special. Like her music doesn't seem any better or different than any other generic like pop star.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
okay.
So here's the thing. Oh, okay. I guess Beyonce has an estimated net worth of $355 million, but together they have an estimated net worth of $1 billion. Or no? Okay, so I guess Jay-Z's net worth is $1 billion and hers is $355 million. Is he her manager, or is she part of his record label or something? Because I feel like she's getting screwed over a little bit.
I don't know that she's as prolific and doesn't sell as much as Jay-Z has a lot of different ventures.
Mm-hmm.
Like he owns the record company he's on. He's not the only successful artist from it. He has a champagne company. He's got a lot of stuff.
So here's a question: If Beyonce and Jay-Z took Rihanna out to dinner, and Jay-Z picked up the tab, would Rihanna have to say thank you to both Jay-Z and Beyonce? Or just Jay-Z?
Probably both.
Yeah, I would think so.
Although at the same time, she's on his label, so he's making a lot of the money he's making off of her as well. So he's probably making like a multiple of what she actually makes off of her.
Right, that's true. So it is their money.
Yeah, so maybe she would just say to him because he's also technically her boss. She's still on, the same label.
What's their kid's name?
And the mess up thing is, he could write the entire thing off.
Oh yeah, for sure. Their kid's name is Blue Ivy or something like that?
Yeah, I think they have twins too, but I'm not really sure. And Ivy is... We need to do an episode or talk to the skeptical skeptics on this. There's a weird thing with Jay-Z. Like, it's like the whole... I've talked about this before. It's like the Aleister Crowley thing, the Tolima or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an obsession with the number 4. Like, his daughter's name is Ivy, which is a Roman numeral for 4.
Oh, okay.
Like, if you just look up his... And there's, like, this video he does, and, like, right at 4:44, this thing comes up. It's just a weird obsession with the number 4 he has for some reason. It's really interesting.
Yeah, we definitely need to get the skeptical skeptics in on that. I'm just looking at pictures of Jay-Z and Beyonce together. God, I don't care about these people.
Yeah, I don't really that much either.
I mean, good for them. Like, I'm glad that they did well in life, and they don't have to worry about money anymore. I hope they care about each other and they're good parents. But I don't know. Like, it's just, to me, see, I know a lot of people are like obsessed with celebrity stuff. To me, when I see pictures of celebrities, it's like just seeing pictures of strangers. You know what I mean? Like, that's the emotional connection that I would have with it, is just seeing pictures of any random people.
Yeah, I just don't really. I'm not. I mean, there's some that I'm more fond of just because they're in a lot of stuff I like. But yeah, I'm not a big. I mean, even though we do a entertainment podcast, I'm not a big fan of entertainment in general.
Yeah. Like, for instance, one of the ones that, like, I'll feel, and I think this is a little bit different, like Kurt Vonnegut, the late Kurt Vonnegut. But I feel like when you read someone's writing, that's a much more personal connection than watching a movie, in my opinion.
It does feel more intimate, especially like someone like Vonnegut who would often like incorporate his real life into his work, or like even like, you know, I think authors are probably the most, you know, you're most likely to feel something for, because it's just like there's like it seems like a more like, you know, sort of thinking of more intimate type connection.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas most, like a lot of other art, is clearly just being, you know, tried to be tweaked to, like, you know, elicit the biggest response.
Yep. We will never do that on this podcast. We don't give a shit what you think. We do this for really us.
Don't. If you like it, good. If you don't, well, there's plenty of podcasts out there.
Absolutely, yeah. There's about 7 billion people on the internet, and about half of them have a podcast. So
yeah, I think half of that are all on my Twitter feed.
Yeah, I bet.
I can't imagine what yours looks like.
Oh yeah, they're all over the place. But I love most of them.
Yeah, not so much. All right, one last story is Ja Rule says he's going to do another festival. Firefest 2.0 question mark?
Only one question mark?
Yeah, which is odd. But there's a semicolon, so that's kind of cool.
Interesting. So
I noticed the next story also has a semicolon, so they must be on a kick there.
Yeah. Someone finally realized that semicolons were good things to use in titles. Yeah, Ja Rule, his net worth is estimated at only $8 million. Oh man,
that's a lot. If I were a doctor specializing in gastric bypass surgery, I'd call my company Semicolon.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Hell of a logo.
Oh. Jeffrey Bruce Atkins, better known by his stage name, Ja Rule.
You ever notice like a lot of rappers have like the lamest names?
Yeah, exactly.
Their real names. Like what Snoop Dogg is Calvin Brodus. That's like the lamest name ever.
Yeah. What's up, Calvin?
I think Dr. Dre is Andre Jackson.
Andre Johnson, I think.
Johnson. There you
go. I just watched Straight Outta Compton yesterday with my wife.
And 50 Cent, Ja Rule's longtime rival, is Curtis Jackson. That's like the lamest name ever.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird. Like, it's just such, like, bland names.
You can tell their parents had such high hopes for them. You don't even like Curtis and expect them to, to not be something.
Exactly.
It's like a challenge built into the name.
Oh. Yeah, so I think both of us watched that Firefest documentary.
There were two. I watched one of them. I don't remember which one I watched. But yeah, Ja Rule comes off as a real piece of shit in the documentary.
Yeah.
And really just in general.
Apparently he was raised as a Jehovah's Witness.
That makes sense.
But now he identifies as a Christian. He became a Christian in 2013 while promoting the movie I'm in Love with a Church Girl.
What? I expected Fast or Furious to be in the title of that movie.
He became a Christian while promoting a movie. Well, that shows a deep relationship with Jesus, I guess.
So, when's this movie come out? August 30th. And do you accept Jesus Christ into your life and heart? Yeah, I do, kind of.
How will that raise the proceeds of this film? Oh, most definitely. Then yes.
Oh.
Yes, absolutely.
If I were him, I would have switched from being a Jehovah's Witness as soon as possible. That just sounds so exhausting.
Oh my God, I'm in love with a church girl. This is what I should have done for educating Mike. Wealthy drug dealer Miles Montego meets a nice Christian girl, Vanessa Leon, at a mutual friend's house. What mutual friend does a wealthy drug dealer and a nice Christian girl have?
I don't know.
Oh my god. Critical reception. The film has been panned by critics. It holds a 6% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
Jeez, that's really bad.
Oh my god. Christian response. The film has had a slightly more positive reception among Christian publications. Yeah,
That doesn't mean anything.
It's so dumb too. Christians, look, we all know that Christians love Christ. It's right in the name. So you don't have to continue to try to prove it by liking horrible films just because they're Christian movies.
You ever notice that adding the adjective Christian to anything just makes it worse?
Yes, absolutely.
Like Christian rock. I mean, who wants to go see that?
Christian rock. It's like an oxymoron.
Christian movies, like the Left Behind movies with Kirk Cameron. I think they only were able to make 2, but oh my god, were they bad?
You ever had a Christian cookie? No good. No sugar.
Probably.
Tastes like Jesus' tears.
Jeez. Even the wine at church isn't that great.
No, it really isn't.
I mean, I wonder if different churches they get like the better stuff.
Right. Do you think the Pope drinks that same shitty wine? I would think he'd get a nice like Chablis or something like that.
I hope he would get like a nice piece of bread with like a crust to it instead of those wafers, you know?
Yeah. I mean, come on. I know it's the body of Christ, but the guy was thin and everything, but you can add a little meat on those bones if you know what I mean.
Jeez. Yeah, that's keeping current with Mike for this week because I don't care about the rest of these stories.
It's also clapback at Christianity.
Oh, Mark dragged Christianity on this episode of Massive Leafy.
Yeah, I can't. I want us to be in Bossip or something like that with that headline. Anyone from Bossip, if you're listening, and you make a headline next week that Massive Late Fee drags Christianity, then I will send you $500.
Mark clapbacks at Jesus.
Oh God. So, speaking of clapping back at Jesus, some of the people really wanted to do that in the TV show that we're reviewing, streaming show on Amazon called Good Omens, starring Michael Sheen and David Tennant. I love David Tennant, by the way. He was in the first season, the only good season of Jessica Jones. And apparently he was also on Doctor Who, which I don't watch.
I knew that somehow, and I'm not. Who is he? The one who plays Crowley?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I figured. And the other, I don't even know the other guy. Okay, the other guy's name Asri. I don't remember his name even. It's hard to remember.
Azrael or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, Michael Sheen, who's in the Twilight movies. He was also in Frost Nixon. He played David Frost. He played Frost. He played Jack Frost.
He played Versus.
Yeah, exactly. But he's an interesting dude. He's been in a lot of different things. Apparently, he's Welsh, so it's kind of a miracle we can understand what he says.
It really is. Not like that princess amongst human beings. Josie Lawrence.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she speaks the Queen's English, not fucking Welsh. No offense, Michael Sheen. Yeah, I still enjoy your work. But anyway, so Good Omens. We watched episode 1, and we'll be going week by week for the 6 weeks that they have episodes out. So, episode 1, Mike, what were your initial thoughts? What are your initial thoughts on the episode in general?
First, a little background. I'm a big Neil Gaiman fan. I like American Gods, the books at least a lot. I don't like the series as much anymore. It's not that good.
Mm-hmm.
I've read a little bit of the Sandman comics. They seem interesting. You know, he's like an author who I generally like. So he wrote this book with a famed science fiction author, Terry Pratchett, who I've heard nothing but good things about his work. I just haven't read any of them yet.
Yep.
They wrote it back in 1990, I believe. So it was Neil Gaiman, and both pretty famous and quite prolific authors. They wrote this book together. It's about the end of the world, and they've tried to adapt it forever. I mean, it's like people constantly want this to be a movie or in this case a TV series.
Mm-hmm.
Terry Pratchett passed away from Alzheimer's, I believe, in 2015, and so supposedly he told Neil Gaiman, before he passed, that the only way he wants this to be done is if Neil Gaiman is like the in charge. So Neil Gaiman is actually the executive producer / showrunner, which I hate the fact that I know what that word is. I just hate that like everyone's so familiar with media and TV and stuff that even I know what that just I can't even tell you how much that annoys and angers me.
Yep.
Or that I even know who the showrunners are on various shows. Why do I know that? That's more than I need to know about any of this.
The only one that I really know is Vince Gilligan.
Yeah, well, Dan Harmon as well on the Community show.
Community, yep.
And then the guy from I can't remember his name, so I guess I don't know. But if I hear it, I'll recognize it. It's the guy who did Arrested Development.
Oh,
Tim Krieg, maybe.
Oh yeah,
Krieg, but it could be
for
wrong.
some reason I was thinking something Hurwitz.
I'm not sure. You might be right,
but I don't know.
Yeah, I hate that I hate it that I'm so familiar with media that I know that. But regardless, so it's basically the story of the end of the world.
Yep.
And the very first thing you notice, especially from the previews, is this is a very I don't know if it's set in the 90s. I can almost guarantee it's not because of some of the technology displayed, but the characters are very, very much dressing as what you might think a cool person would look like in the 1990s. Very early 1990s.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like it is kind of funny. It's like the Neil Gaiman aesthetic from like Sandman and that kind of stuff, where there's a lot of trench coats and like round glasses. People speaking in low, growly tones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still works. I mean, it starts off at the very beginning. We hear the voice of God, which again we can tell it's an irreverent take on creationism and Christianity right away because. And by the way, that doesn't mean this is a bad thing just because it's associated with Christianity. Unlike Jars of Clay or whatever those fucking bands Mark do that.
Correct. It was sixpence none the richer.
Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, it's just like it's two famed authors in their spin on the end of the world.
Yep.
So it takes place at the very beginning in the Garden of Eden, or actually it takes place a bit before that, where there's like a history that's definitely tongue in cheek. It definitely sets a tone where they're talking about it's like a woman's voice. It's Frances McDormand, actually, I believe.
Yes, it is.
The famed actor of Fargo fame.
Mm-hmm.
She plays the voice of God, and I didn't know that. I would have known that if I didn't have the subtitles on, which I always have on. It said "voice of God," so I was like, okay, clearly she's God. I mean, it could have been a narrator, but at that point, you're kind of unsure. So she basically tells the story of how some people think that the world was the galaxy universe was created 14 billion years ago, and then some people say it's 1400 years ago, and then she goes, oh, it was 1400 years ago, but it's slightly off by a few hours. So it's like obviously like a tongue-in-cheek take on everything like
right. Yeah, this Christian philosopher got it right, kind of, but he was off by like an hour and 40 minutes.
Yeah, which is like insane because it was like October 21st. Because just how could you start it in October? I don't know, but whatever.
Yeah, if you're gonna start a universe, why October? I mean, the spring months. I think creation. I think that makes more sense.
Unless God is an Australian and it's warm down there.
That's true.
If you recall those Yahoo Serious commercials from the 90s, when it's winter here, it's summer there.
That's right. Absolutely. That's true. God probably is a fan of the Southern Hemisphere.
Well, it makes sense because Australia seems like a great place to live.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so it starts up then, and we see that they're in the Garden of Eden. There's two people. One of them eats a fruit, and they kind of go off into the distance. You see the man, obviously Adam, is carrying a flaming sword.
Yeah.
And it cuts to, and I'm never going to get this name right. I know the one I almost say Crowley every time, but it's Crowley.
Yeah.
Cawley, maybe? I don't know.
No, it's Crowley.
So I'm thinking that since I'm not British, that's probably how you pronounce Aleister Crowley's name. Like it's probably Crowley. But then again, the Black Sabbath song would say it's Mr. Crowley, or is that's an Ozzy Osbourne song? But he says Crowley instead of Crowley, and I would assume Ozzy Osbourne would know how to pronounce his name.
Yeah, it's weird because my wife watches Supernatural, and there is a demon whose name is Crowley on that show as well. He actually becomes the king of hell. So I would assume, obviously this was written before
Okay, so your wife
Supernatural.
watches this, but you have such an intimate knowledge that you know he becomes a king of hell.
Well, that's
My wife.
I know what she tells me. I watch episodes with her, and Carol. Just so you know, the new
Ask me a
season,
message, our newest segment.
the new season of Supernatural is coming to Netflix in a month, I think. Just so you know. But anyway, I watch episodes with her every once in a while, but I don't watch, like, she watches it a lot when we're doing this or I'm doing something else.
I started to watch that, but I got like maybe a season into it. It just wasn't for me.
I can't get into it. Every once in a while, I'll see an episode that she's watching or I'm watching with her. That I'm like, okay, this is okay. But the overall arc of it, and it's too much time to devote. Like I don't want to try to get into it and then have to watch 15 seasons of it.
Aren't there like 15, and there's like 20 episodes a season or something like that? It's like one of those like old school like network shows where each season has like 20.
Yep, absolutely. But yeah, I assume that you're right that both those names are homages to Aleister Crowley, I would think.
Yeah, I don't really know, but regardless, they're kind of sitting there and talking about like the nature of like human beings and like, and in the meantime, we see kind of like a funny like montage of like the Adam with like his flaming sword trying to fight a lion. It's just like it's a really weird like thing in the background.
Yeah, because Crowley asks Aleister or however you spell his name. I'm just gonna call him A or Michael Sheen, one of the two.
There you go.
But he asks Michael Sheen, where's your flaming sword? Didn't you have a flaming sword? And he's like, I gave it to him. And he's like, oh, I wonder if that was the wrong thing to do. And Crowley goes, oh, you couldn't do the wrong thing if you tried. You're an angel. Like, I'm a demon. Right. I do the bad things. That's why I tempted them with the apple. And then he brings up a very interesting idea and says, wouldn't it be funny if we both did the wrong thing? Where like me showing them about the tree of knowledge, like that was the right thing to do, and you giving him a flaming sword, that was the wrong thing to do.
Great.
But yeah, so he starts attacking that lion. That's pretty funny. Just a lion in the desert.
This whole opening scene just like sets the tone. You can tell it's like already it's like irreverent. It's funny. It's clever. I was pretty happy by the time I saw it. It seemed like I have a feeling this is going to be a good show to watch.
Yep.
So we cut to, and this takes place 11 years before the start of the series. It shows him driving, and then it kind of cuts back to 11 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
We're at it's a convent. I think you're more familiar with this terminology than I. Is that where they're at, a convent, or is it just like a hospital that's run by nuns?
Yeah, I think it would be a convent. But they have a like a medical center to it. I mean, obviously it's in rural England, so anyone that hasn't seen the show, just to kind of give you kind of like set the scene for you, it's obviously very very provincial, but yeah, they're an order of nuns, so they live together in this convent, but they're also trained in nursing and childbirth.
Like
it's
midwife and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's a very like kind of like all of it is sort of like a 1950s kind of feel, but that's not when it takes place.
Yeah, even that I think is like a more like a it probably I didn't read the book. That probably happens in the book, and that would make more sense happening in like 1979 than 1990.
Yeah.
Or in our case, it's supposedly in 2008, which sounds completely ridiculous.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so they're going, the first ones we see, is the parents of just like normal, parents. They're English, and she's going into labor, and she's kind of freaking out a little bit. So is he. And then we see they get passed by an ambulance, and, in the back of that ambulance is the the mother of, one of these babies that's going to be born. And she's the wife of an ambassador I guess he's supposed to be an ambassador to England, but he's in Washington right now with the president, and someone's doing a passable George W. Bush impersonation behind him.
I think it was... Seattle, again, if it's 11 years ago, which is funny because it's 11 years ago, it should have been George, W. Bush. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I keep thinking this thing's in the 90s, so I keep thinking it's George Bush, the first.
Yeah, I think it was supposed to be W. Bush. 11 years ago would be 2008, so it'd be, I guess, right at the end of his presidency. Yeah,
and it seems like a more jovial type, Bush, which W is more the, funny, like, joking kind.
Right. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so they
the ambassador, I only was able to tell by the voice at first. It was played by Nick Offerman. I wonder if he's gonna have like a bigger role in this series, or because he's only in this for like maybe 2 minutes total.
Yeah. I it'll be interesting to see going forward if he has a bigger role or not. But yeah, Nick Offerman plays the ambassador, and he's like, like he's the not really what's the word I'm looking for? Not really present dad, where he's just kind of like, oh yeah, go ahead, honey, it's good, all stuff.
It's like his first child too, and he's like, in the middle of like a meeting, and they mention it, they're watching it over like some weird video feed type thing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so then and then they cut to a sequence which kind of reminds me of the American Gods TV series, where it's like a highly stylish explanation of, how they would keep the baby. Actually, no, that's not correct. We go to the nunnery again.
Okay.
Convent, maybe? Is nunnery a thing?
Yeah, you can say nunnery.
Whatever. They go to this place, and you see the nuns are like gleefully talking about how the Antichrist is coming to be born through their thing, and then like it's in like a comedic type thing, the Mother Superior like slaps up like a picture of a demon next to like the mother, and like, oh, they're all super excited, and one of the nuns is told they kind of forget to give her an assignment during this. They told her to get biscuits, which is cookies in America. Mm-hmm. Then we keep cutting back and forth. We see Crowley's character. He's a delivery man. He's got the baby from hell. He's showing up in the convent.
Yep.
And there's a lot of cutting back and forth, and a lot of just funny like stuff in general. And there's like the stylized, like they're talking about how difficult it is and what people are thinking. Like how people the whole thing is so far a lot of it's about misinterpretation.
Yeah,
because like the nuns they're basically they think that the other person is implying something that didn't happen.
Yep.
So it's actually kind of like a kind of a mystery. There's a good chance that the babies are switched up, as in the Antichrist went to the the non-ambassador couple, and like the ambassador couple got the non-Antichrist.
Yep, exactly. Because they wanted to put them there. I guess like
I wonder if that's a nod to the Exorcist Part 3. I think it was, where like Damien becomes like the son of an ambassador or an ambassador.
Yeah, I'm guessing so. And I think it's supposed to be like they want to put him where he's going to be in a position of power or something like that.
Grows up wealthy, that sort of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, so the couple demons come from hell, and they give Crowley this baby. They say, it's your job to deliver it and everything, because they love you so much in hell. Because apparently Crowley tells them things that he's responsible for things that he is not at all responsible for, but they don't check on him.
Yeah, what's funny is he constantly tells them that he lies all the time. The first thing he says to people is like, "Yeah, I'm a liar. I'm a demon." Mm-hmm. Or to quote Jason Lee, "I'm a fucking demon."
Right, exactly. But yeah, he tells them that he's responsible. He was responsible for World War II and something else. I can't remember what. And he's like, well, what is it? My fault that the humans got to it first. So it's basically like a lot of our problems. It kind of implies, rightly so, that a lot of our problems we're just responsible for ourselves.
Right.
But I love too when he's like he clearly doesn't want Armageddon to happen because he likes living.
Both, yeah, they really enjoy like the human experiment, and like they even like there's a lot of fun. I really like the pairing for the actors. They really play off each other really well.
Absolutely, yeah. That's probably the strength of the whole show.
Yeah, so far I don't have any issues with it at all. But I'm like they show like Michael Sheen's character as a Holly, maybe I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He's like in Japan eating sushi, and like the guy behind the counter obviously knows him, and he's happy to see him, and they both like are having a throat. Like they both love humanity, which is like kind of like the theme, like they're in love with humanity, and they're the two, and then so they kind of get for some reason I don't remember how, but they kind of catch on to the idea that maybe the babies were switched.
Yeah.
And so like Michael Sheen's character like keeps getting like wacky jobs as like a gardener, and like so the one that they're the diplomat's child who is being raised in England. I don't remember what happened there. Did the mom marry someone else? I really don't recall.
No, I think they're still married. They don't really show the parents at all. But
I don't see Nick Offerman's character at all at that point. So I thought, I thought they switched them, but maybe not. But yeah, they keep showing like the angel keeps showing up and kind of trying to like show the boy to be nice. Like he goes to the other one. He's like, oh, what should I? He's like, oh yeah, destroy all your enemies. He's like, oh, he said I should show mercy and that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
they both kind of try to influence.
Yeah, what they come up with, because they kind of talk about it, and they're like, neither one of us want Armageddon to happen. It's clear that they've been friends since the beginning of everything.
Yeah, for sure. Like they, at least friendly rivals were.
So, like, David Tennant's character comes up with the idea that, he's the Antichrist, but what he does is going to kind of be influenced by what his... It's like the nature versus nurture thing almost.
That, and it's for sure that they're saying, well, maybe he's born the Antichrist, but we'll make him grow up to be a nice kid.
Yeah. So they figure if one of them is an evil influence on him, David Tennant, the demon, well, obviously, and the other one, the angel, is a good influence on him, he'll grow up just normal. He won't be a good person. He won't be a bad person. He'll just be a normal person, and he won't destroy the world. That's their plan. But obviously, the entire time, they're with the wrong kid. So, that's what, like, the David Tennant becomes the nanny, and he's, like,
the gardener, and he's a magician.
Yep. So, it's his, what is it? It's his 11th birthday.
Yeah, the big date is his 11th birthday. They talked it up as when he turns 11, which is weird. I don't know why they came up with that number, but whatever.
Yeah.
You would think, to go with more like biblical. I mean, I wonder really why they chose that age, because you think like, even going with like biblical history, 13 is like when you become a man, that sort of thing, like something like that.
Yeah, but
he needs to get this this demon dog that once he sees it and names it, it'll help him conquer the world and like bring upon Armageddon.
Yep. And so they're at his 11th birthday, waiting for this dog to show up because they want to stop the dog from getting to him so he can't, fulfill his full potential.
Yeah,
and
they're hoping that if they want to see what he names the dog, because that'll have a big influence as to what actually the dog does for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so the dog doesn't show up, and I guess like they get in the car and they're like, wrong. They both say at the same time, wrong kid. So it's like They know that somehow this got messed up because the dog didn't show up. Meanwhile, the kid that we haven't seen at all, whose name is Adam. That's the other thing too. The nuns are suggesting names for the kids.
Yeah, that was a great scene.
And they're like Damien or stuff like that. And
Warlock, I think. And I think the one was named Warlock.
Yeah, the the ambassador's kid is named Warlock.
Even though he was going to name him after him, like the fourth in line in generation.
Right. But so we see at the very end of the episode, we see Adam, the actual Antichrist, playing with his friends. He seems like a normal enough kid. This dog starts to
about how he always wanted a dog, and he's describing the traits of it and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and this dog is this like giant dog is running towards him, and he's like, no, I don't want a big dog, I want a small dog. And the dog kind of stops, like, what? And he describes all the things, and they say, so what would you name the dog? And as you point out, it's like a big thing, and he thinks about it for a second. He's like, probably just dog. So there's not much to get out of that.
Actually, I think there is. I think we're going to find out that, since dog is God backwards, that's going to come up at some point.
Oh yeah, that is a good point. But yeah, so the dog turns into a small little dog that like he wants. I think it's a beagle, right?
Something like that.
So, runs to him and he's like, oh, I got this dog and everything. And, that dog's supposed to help him come into his powers. And that's kind of where the episode ends. A lot of the episode was sort of, necessarily background information, kind of getting to know some of the characters. I would assume in episode 2 we'll get to know Adam a lot better, the Antichrist. And see what happens there. But I am like you. I was pretty happy with this episode, and I feel like the show is going to get even better from here. That's kind of how I see it. I think, like you said, with the dog being God backwards and things like that. I think a lot of things that were said or brought up in this episode are going to really tie in and come back and play, with other revelations later on. And, yep.
Guys, revelations.
Oh, yeah. Unintentional comedy on Massive Late Fee.
Mark claps back at Revelations.
That should be our tagline, unintentional comedy, Massive Late Fee. But yeah, I was really happy with the episode. I think that this is going to be a good one, and I am excited to watch the second one.
Yeah, and I'm happy that it's only 6 episodes.
Yep, 6.
Because that seems like a number that's just chosen. It's like a fuck you number. It's like, oh, we're gonna have 6 episodes. It's like we're gonna do exactly what we want, not too much, not too little. That's how long it takes to tell this. And since Neil Gaiman's involved, and he's like, the executive producer and showrunner, if you will,
right?
We know it's going to be. I think it's going to be a quality thing. He's not going to make. He's going to be like a. Plus, he's thinking of his late friend Terry Pratchett. He wants to be a good tribute to him. It's just, I have nothing but high expectations for this.
Yep. And one thing that really makes me happy on the Wikipedia page, number of episodes 6, like you said, number of seasons 1. That's it. They're not doing a second season. There's not going to be any more of these. It's 6 episodes. It's just one thing. It's kind of the perfect way to tell. I don't know. I haven't read the book, so I don't know how complicated the book is.
I bought it, but I lost. I never really got into it too much.
Okay, but I like this. This to me is the perfect way to tell, especially a longer or more complicated book. This is the perfect way to do it. Don't try to cram it into a 2-hour movie. Don't make me sit through 5 seasons of something. One season, like 6-7 episodes, depending on the length of the book.
They're an hour each, so it's like 6 hours or so. That would be a little longer, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's like the perfect amount of time. It's like
absolutely
you could tell just enough without going into demanding detail in 6 episodes. Especially, the author, one of the authors of it is in charge too, and I don't think Neil Gaiman generally, puts out crap. No offense to Stephen King, but a lot of stuff that Stephen King, has done that has just been, made into like shit. He seems to have like Sleepwalkers, for example.
Yeah.
That, or like you said earlier, the Mangler. How does it even happen? He's either involved to the level where he doesn't even care what happens with his work, or he just like has really terrible judgment of what will make a good show.
Well, I know way back when in the 80s and the 90s,
you like the 80s, right, Mark?
Yeah.
I read it this week at a concert.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, Aaron Gay.
Oh, it was actually Brett Gay. So
it was Brett?
His twin brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought Brett said it for some reason.
No, it was Ron. But they're the same person essentially. If Brett and Aaron, if you guys are listening, I think you're the same person.
I disagree. I can tell them apart actually, which for me with twins is very difficult. Like, I can't even tell my sister-in-law apart from her twin sister half the time.
Oh, okay.
Then I realized her twin sister has a mole, so I'm like, okay. And also their voices are very different. I figured this out like last year, by the way.
And also, one's a different color.
Oh, they're the same.
No, it's just funny. But yeah, so I know back then he wasn't really involved. Like people would option his books for movies. They'd pay money and they'd negotiate whatever it was, and then he'd basically say go make it. And he kind of got sick of how terrible they were. So he decided a while ago, maybe 10 years ago or something like that, that he wasn't selling the rights to his books anymore for like big money. He sells them for $1 now, but in the contract it specifies that he has to be a producer or involved in some way so that he can kind of oversee things. I will say that Stephen King's my favorite author, but that doesn't necessarily mean, even though he's involved now, that the quality's gotten a lot better.
I would say that a lot of the more recent ones are for sure better. Like there were some really terrible ones, like we already said Sleepwalkers.
Yeah.
And what was that? The Dreamcatcher movie? That was really, really.
Yeah, Dreamcatcher was really bad.
I mean, I don't know how. I wonder how much they had to pay Morgan Freeman to be in that movie. It wasn't enough.
Yeah. Morgan Freeman definitely earned whatever paycheck they gave him by appearing in that piece of shit.
For sure.
The aforementioned Jason Lee was in that movie too.
Oh yeah, I forgot. You know what movie that he did that always comes back to me? Or it wasn't that he did, it was based on one of his works. Storm of the Century.
Oh yes, I remember that.
Did you ever see the miniseries for that?
Yes, I did.
I feel that it wasn't as popular as I think it was, because I always like make a reference to the "give me what I want, I'll go away," and no one understands what the hell I'm talking about. But to me, it's like a really because I remember all the previews for it just have like him saying "give me what I want and I'll go away."
Yep.
Oh my God, that was a complete piece of shit. That was so terrible.
Oh my God, yeah. The one brother from Wings was in that.
I just remember the ending. Like, there was like a lottery type thing, and of course, his kid, and then like it was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't very good at all. And Stephen King released that as a book. I guess it was a screenplay in book form.
Yeah, I think that's what I think he wrote it to be like a TV movie.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Yeah, for a while he was doing a lot of stuff. This is now a Stephen King conversation, by the way.
Right.
For a while, he was doing a lot of stuff that I thought was kind of shitty, but then he really came back strong with like Mr. Mercedes. I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
The one after it, Finders Keepers, I read that. I thought that was really good. I really like the what's the one with the lightning guy? Revival.
Oh yeah, Revival. Yes.
I like that one a lot too. That would seem, and this doesn't make any sense, but that seemed almost more like a Richard Bachman type thing than a Stephen King one.
No, I agree with you on that. Definitely.
Even to an extent, Mr. Mercedes, but I mean, that was almost like an entirely different like personality. It wasn't really much like either of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like those, and I've seen the preview. It's not him, but I've seen like the preview for his son's movie Nosferatu. That looks kind of that looks scary, but I haven't really seen it. Which has nothing to do with Stephen King, but I was just mentioning the Kings in general.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel that his stuff's gotten better lately.
Oh, there's a celebrity thing maybe, or semi-celebrity thing. Stephen King's daughter, Naomi King, follows me on Twitter.
Oh, nice.
But anyway,
the preacher is what you call him?
Yeah, she's a reverend in a Unitarian church.
That's cool.
Oh, so
he seems like all his kids, he seems like even though he had like obviously a lot of trouble when he was younger with alcohol and drugs, he seemed like he definitely turned himself around. His kids all seem like really productive, happy people.
Yeah, I think so. His two sons are authors. She's a Unitarian minister, and they seem like they're like you said, they seem like they're well-adjusted people, which is good. Did
you ever see his cameo in Sons of Anarchy?
No, that's another show that I've never seen that I need to watch.
Yeah, that show is kind of good. It gets really bad in some points, I feel, but he plays like a mafia cleaner type guy.
Mm-hmm.
He just kind of shows up. He's like, I'll take the bodies away or something. It's like a fun, little cameo.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Well,
Good Omens so far looks pretty good. The demons came and blew up the nunnery at 1.2. I mean, it just seems I have nothing but good thoughts so far. I hope I'm not disappointed. But yeah, I'm really enjoying the show so far.
Me too. Well, that is our episode for tonight. I forgot the promo. Okay, promo's going at the end this time. Sorry, guys. Although we've done a promo for this show at some point already. But as we leave you today and tell you to talk to us on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff and go to Patreon.
Our sister podcast, Carol's been tweeting a lot more lately. Do you know her Twitter handle?
Yeah, her Twitter handle is at late Carol, at late_Carol, I think.
Nice.
Yeah, she basically copied your Twitter handle.
Sounds like she completely ripped me off is what she did.
Yeah, exactly. Carol, just so you know, Mike is mad that you ripped him off on his Twitter.
I kind of am just a little bit, though.
But yeah, she's doing a lot of like 90s diary stuff and everything, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, she's definitely been more active lately.
So check all that out. Check us out at Massive Late Fee on Twitter, at _Mike, at late_Carol. I don't know.
Yeah, if you want to see what I've been up to on Twitter, just follow Carol. She'll retweet it or claim her own version of it at some point.
Oh, well, that is our show. As we leave you, listen to this Brew Crime promo. Brew Crime is a very good true crime podcast that we are definitely happy to be associated with. And we will see you next week for more good omens. Talk to you later. Bye.
See you next time.
This is Brew Crime, a craft beer and true crime podcast.
I'm Mike.
I'm Beck.
And I'm Nina.
And we're your hosts.
We pair a true crime story with a craft beer.
That Nina will probably hate.
Yeah, probably.
Whatever. You can find our show on all your favorite podcast apps, and if you can't find it, contact us and we'll try and change that.
We can be found at brewcrime.com or on Twitter at brewcrime, on Facebook at brewcrime, or if you want to go to our group, it's group/brewcrime on Facebook, or on Instagram at Pacific Beer Chat.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us and try not to giggle.